now, here are your hosts, Hank Davis and Mello Betts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mello's NFL Weekly. We're the NFL Fan Podcast, brought to you by Tiger Prince Entertainment. I'm your host, former professional athlete Hank Davis, and joining me on the line, he is the professor of sports and the gambling guru. He's Mello Betts. How are you, buddy?
Dang it, Bobby, I'm doing good.
Dadgum. Awesome. Mello, the Thursday night game, let's get that out of the way. It was the Vikings laying 5.5. I took Tampa Bay. I got it. You took the Vikings, correct?
I got it, all right.
You're paying for it now, right, my friend?
Yeah, the Vikings let me down on that one. Yes, they did.
Yeah.
We now know that a Buccaneer can beat a Viking in a sword fight.
On God. Or something to that effect. I'm not sure. Mello, are you ready to just jump right into the news?
Yeah.
It's time for the news, a roundup of all the biggest headlines.
The NFL will consider dropping the Pro Bowl if the level of play doesn't improve, Commissioner Roger Goodell said. Goodell said that last January's Pro Bowl was, quote, embarrassing. If we cannot accomplish that kind of standard of high play, I am inclined to not play it, Goodell said. It is really tough to force competition, and after a long season, to ask those guys to go out and play at the same level they played is really tough. The league still would select a Pro Bowl team through voting by players, coaches, and fans because it is an honor, but just not play the game, he said. Mello, any thoughts on this whole scenario?
You know my feelings on this. There's only one sport that their all-star game, their celebrity game, is an actual game, and that's baseball. The football one is a joke, and I used to say, oh, please don't get rid of it. But, hey, to me, you could replace it with a skills competition. I think that'd have more interest than this sad game they try to parade out there.
You know what? I honestly would be more interested in some sort of skills competition amongst the players voted to the Pro Bowl or something.
Yeah, and, we know that people will perform through a bounty system, so just pay them to, do skills out there.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness on that last comment. Automatic.
I thought we were breaking
first
the
down.
huddle.
How did you not know that was coming?
I thought we had gotten to the line of scrimmage and spiked it before he could call anything.
The all-seeing eyes of Wayne Henderson.
Hey, Wayne, ease up, brother.
So Pro Bowl, no bowl.
No ball, yeah.
The league is working on scheduling more East Coast games involving West Coast teams in late afternoon slots to avoid what amounts to be a 10 a.m. kickoff for the Western teams. Have I not been saying this for years, Mello?
Years this guy was on to this thing.
Hey,
I'm still sleepy.
Mello, let's have some Captain Crunch, and then let's go play some competitive football for 3 hours.
Yeah, milk doesn't really sit on my gut too well if I'm running around.
No, I'm not too ecstatic to play football and get concussed at 10 a.m.
Yeah, when I'm already sleepy, yes it is.
He's a little woozy, friends.
Don't they look groggy out there in some of them games there?
Have you watched the Raiders play?
Ooh.
Yeah, they look groggy no matter what the time is.
At least they can still commit penalties.
Yeah, well, speaking of penalties, the war of words between the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins escalated Thursday, with Dolphin center Mike Pouncey calling Jets linebacker Aaron Maben a joke and claiming they will target Maben in Sunday's game at MetLife Stadium. You can tell Aaron Maben will be after him on Sunday, Pouncey said. Pouncey was responding to remarks from Maben and Jet safety LaRon Landry, both of which made inflammatory comments Wednesday about Dolphins running back Reggie Bush. Maben said, "We want to knock him out, but we're going to go about it legally." Oh, my freaking goodness, Mello. When you hear talk like this, what does this do for you as a fan?
If it was teams that mattered, I guess that, give a little flavor, make me want to check this game out. But neither of these two teams are into the any of my equations, so it's just bad football teams jawing at each other.
And they're in the equation of who's gonna bring up the rear.
That's all. That's the only equation they're figuring into.
Who's gonna bring up the rear in this? I think this should be cause for concern, especially if stuff happens. What if somebody's season ends on Sunday?
Where's the commissioner on this? He sticks his nose into everything. Shouldn't he put out some rule that you can't jaw back at each other before a big division game there?
5 days before a game, you can't talk about the other team.
Hey, that's the rule.
It'd be just like the 90 minutes before kickoff, that no Twitter.
Yep.
I don't know, but Reggie Bush, he gets a lot of flack. Why is that, Mello?
I just, going back to the Heisman Trophy deal and a couple, I'm not going to say that he got away with something, but with his parents, the house being paid for and...
Oh, getting away with something.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. It leaves a little cloud over a guy's head, and because he was so dynamic in college, people have been looking to knock him down, for a while and say that he's not a complete back and he can't be an everyday down back. And anytime you've gotten a lot of glamour and stuff, there's going to be people wanting to knock you down, and it's probably a little bit of hating going on in there, but hey, that comes with the territory.
I thought it was because he likes to scoot out of bounds instead of getting hit.
Well, if you're smaller, I would think that's probably the best thing to do, rather than show everybody how tough you are and cut time off of your career by taking unnecessary hits.
I'm pretty tough. Watch this. The Carolina Panthers announced Monday morning that general manager Marty Herney was relieved of his duties. Now, this shouldn't have been a shock to anybody, Mello, but do you just stop there?
No.
Who else would you get rid of if you were in control of all of football operations in Carolina?
I'm not saying I would have got rid of anybody, because right now what your GM is doing is getting ready for the combine and stuff. It's already been turned over to the coaches, and if you have injuries, we got to replace them, so that's his job to do that. But he's already set the plan in motion here. It's up to the other guys to execute it. I didn't understand this. All I really got out of it as your quarterback is whining and being a crybaby, and somebody's head had to roll because of it.
It did seem like it was that knee-jerk, we got to do something to get the fans off our backs kind of deal. But I really don't see this having any impact on the field.
I don't see it either, really.
The San Diego Chargers are being investigated by the NFL for the potential use of a banned substance. And they reportedly are facing a fine or lost draft pick or picks as a penalty. A line judge saw San Diego's equipment man hiding stickum and giving it to players. The judge had the substance confiscated and sent to the Broncos and the league. Stickum and similar adhesives were banned by the NFL in 1981 with the Lester Hayes rule, Mello.
Oh, yeah.
Which was named after the famous Oakland Raiders cornerback who frequently used it. Now, San Diego says that the Chargers are facing a fine or the loss of draft picks as a penalty, and they don't think that that would be very fair. Mello, any thoughts on this whole scenario?
If you're cheating, shouldn't it reflect in your record that you have like a better record than what you have? Because if you're cheating to get to where they're at, that's not really very good.
Well, the Lions and the Raiders have a lot of penalties, so they're kind of cheaters, and that doesn't really reflect how they play.
Maybe we should take a course on how to cheat properly. Ineffective cheating is not where we're at here, people.
I used to love the old Lester Hayes interceptions where the ball would hit him on the forearm and just kind of stick there for a second, and then his other hand would come around and grab it.
Yeah, and meanwhile, he's taking 2 strides, and that ball didn't budge, Wow.
I thought he was bit by a spider or something.
I'm thinking 2 of the big linemen each grabbed a hold of his foot and put him in a dunk tank of that stickum before the game here.
He's stuck to the other defensive back. This is a cover 3 now. Tim Tebow's time on the bench has changed the perception of him among his peers. 5 months after being named one of the top 100 NFL players, the New York Jets backup quarterback was voted the most overrated player in the league in a landslide, Mello. So this was a Sports Illustrated poll where 180 players voted. 34% named Tebow the most overrated player in the NFL. And now check this out. Mark Sanchez, the Jets starting QB ahead of Tebow, was tied for second with 8% of the vote, along with Tony Romo of Dallas. Any thoughts?
That's I mean, look at the three and their body of work. That does make pretty good sense. I'm surprised that it wasn't even higher for Tebow, because who else can you think of that's even close to getting that kind of hype and doesn't even hardly play?
That's true. This week he could play center. All right, Mello. Shall we switch gears to one of the fans' favorite segments? That's not football.
Oh, yes.
That's not football. J.J. Watt was mic'd up for last Sunday's Texans-Ravens game, and he got off one of the funniest trash talk lines ever. The Texans' star defensive end was heard saying, "I've eaten bigger burritos than you," to Ray Rice. The line was so funny it even appeared to make one of the Ravens linemen laugh. Mello?
That is not football. JJ, come on.
There's a picture circulating around the web of Patriots running backs Stephen Ridley, Jeff Demps, Danny Woodhead, Shane Vereen. That sounds like Ben Vereen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Brandon Bolden and James Devlin wearing onesies, Mello.
Oh, boy. Guys, that's not football.
We all know the quarterback always gets the girl. And now that Christian Ponder has become, a pretty decent NFL starter, it appears he's joined those ranks. Recent rumors have indicated that Ponder is dating ESPN sideline reporter Samantha Steele.
That's really not football, guys.
Yeah, she was doing her job.
Yeah.
I'm going in the locker room again. Peyton Manning became the newest franchisee for Papa John's Pizza, signing a deal to own 21 stores in the Denver area on Friday. Now, this is the same day that the pizza maker announced it had signed a multi-year contract to continue as the official pizza of the NFL and the Super Bowl, Mel.
Wow. That's a big deal, but it's not football.
Sean Lee is set to undergo season-ending surgery to repair a torn tendon in his big toe next week, which is a major blow to the Dallas Cowboys defensively anyway.
Yes.
It comes as no surprise that defensive coordinator Rob Ryan is upset by the news. How upset? Rex Ryan says his brother Rob was, quote, crying on the phone about Sean Lee's toe injury.
You kidding me? That's not football. Your coach? Come on.
He's not going to be on the field. You would know Rex's big mouth would say something, wouldn't you?
Oh, of course, too.
I would never tell him crap. And one more, Mello. Seattle Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman has changed his name on his Twitter profile to Optimus Prime ahead of Sunday's contest with the Detroit Lions, indicating he's prepared to match up against Lions wide receiver Kelvin Johnson, a.k.a. Megatron. Mello, who is going to win this Cybertron-like battle on
gosh.
Sunday?
I don't know. That's not,
And I did find out that Aaron Rodgers has changed his name to Soundwave, and there's going to be some various other Transformers appearing in the next few weeks. But, Mello, that's not what?
That's not football.
I didn't think so. Oh, my gosh. From time to time, well, what am I saying? Every week there's some idiot that, kind of spouts off about something, and you just want them to shut up. So that's why we created a segment called Shut Up.
Shut up!
Thank you. Giants rookie running back David Wilson has a ton of potential and a big mouth. I think at the end of my career, I'll be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh.
I'm like birth control. You have to believe in me. Like birth control, 99.9% of the time, I'm going to come through for you. Mello, if he can stop crying long enough, maybe he should shut up. In between teardrops when he fumbles, maybe he could just shut up. Isn't that awesome to just know how I'm great? How are you?
Oh,
Jeez,
boy.
What an idiot. And one more shut up because I just couldn't let this one go. Kansas City Chiefs linebacker Tamba Hali is expecting some extracurricular activity on Sunday when his team takes on division rival Oakland. That's like saying, Mello, I expect there to be oxygen in the air when I go outside tomorrow.
You're expecting snow in January in Michigan?
Yes. I expect to, have somebody on the other side of the door if the door bell rings. I mean, what do the Raiders do besides create penalties?
Create penalties.
And lose.
Create new rules for the penalties.
Oh, we've never seen this before.
You can't do that.
Every once in a while, folks, there's something fishy going on.
Okay.
And you gotta just kind of take a back seat and enjoy the ride that I take you on, because I put on my conspiracy theory hat and I kind of lead you down the path. And Mello tells me whether I'm a little crazy, a little hokey with the idea, or if it has a little bit of merit. So far, I've been on a roll. Let's see what he says about this week's.
It's time for the conspiracy sports moment of the week.
The New England Patriots may have gotten some assistance from the Gillette Stadium clock operator during their win over the New York Jets on Sunday. On the ensuing kickoff after the Jets took a 26-23 lead with just over 2 minutes remaining, kick returner Devin McCourty appeared to take about 7 strides before the clock began ticking from 2 minutes 6 seconds. The clock also appeared to stop very quickly when the Jets recovered the McCourty fumble that nearly cost the Patriots the game, leaving 2 minutes 1 second in the game. Why is this significant? New England had all 3 of its timeouts remaining, and starting the clock late and stopping it quickly essentially gave them an extra timeout, as New York attempted to chew up as much time as possible and kick a go-ahead field goal. Nick Folk wound up connecting with a 43-yarder to break the tie, but Tom Brady and company had 1 minute, 37 seconds left to send the game to overtime. Mello, am I off my rocker? Am I wearing the tinfoil hat?
I wanted to say yes, but you've laid out the facts, and that sounds like a home field advantage to me. So I'm gonna ride shotgun with you on this one.
Ooh, good old-fashioned home cooking, Mello. You gotta love home cooking. All right, so I'm on a little bit of a streak. I've been laying it out.
You're rolling.
I've been laying it out pretty good here. Mello, every once in a while, the NFL players, and by once in a while, I mean every week,
Right.
The NFL players, they get in a little bit of trouble on and off the field. And that's why we came up with the rap sheet.
Calling all cars. Be advised, we have NFL players on the loose.
Brandon Marshall was fined a currently unknown amount for wearing orange cleats during the Chicago Bears' 13-7 win over the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football. And if you're watching the video feed, that's it. But if you're listening,
How's he gonna know how much to pay?
write us
Send him a blank check.
Yep, write us a blank check and we'll just fill it in. I'm Roger Goodell. Oh, bye. No, but if you're a video watcher, then sorry, that's it for the rap sheet. But if you're a podcast subscriber in iTunes or Zune or anywhere fine podcasts are displayed, then you will hear the full rap sheet because it's never available by the time we record on Fridays. Sorry. All right.
Sorry.
That's pretty rude, right?
Yes.
Mello, anything before we get set to pick them?
I'm ready to pick them.
Are you really?
I think I am. No, maybe now I'm not so sure.
Let's ask Wayne.
It's time to pick 'em. Remember, picks are made for entertainment purposes only.
Yeah, entertainment. Like laughing at me when I do poorly. All right, so we already talked about the Thursday night game, so let's move on to Sunday. The New England Patriots are going to lay 7 points to the St. Louis Rams at London. I think this will actually be a decent game, and with all that travel, I expect this to be a hotly contested game. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take St. Louis getting the 7 and just pray that they can keep this sucker down a little bit. Mello, who are you taking?
I don't like it. I don't like. If St. Louis was at home, I would ride with you on that one. But this going all the way over there and saying that you're the home team, I don't think that gives you any advantage. And I think I remember that field not being in the best of shape, which is bad for defenses. So I'm saying New England's going to be throwing up and down the field on them, and I think they can cover the 7.
Is their stomach upset? Throwing up and down?
Mm-hmm.
At Tennessee, the Titans, remember them. They're going to lay 3.5 to the Indianapolis Colts. I think this will be a decent game. I actually want to watch this game if it's on in my area. And on certain websites on the internet, it's always on. So I'm going to take Indianapolis. I'm going to take them. I think they're going to win this game. Just call it a gut feeling, but I just think they're going to win this game outright. Who you taking, Mello?
Right now, home teams are like 14 games, or home favorites are like 14 games under 500, so that's kind of a no-brainer. I'm going to take Indy. I'm not sold on this. Tennessee's really that much better than any of the other scrub teams.
At Green Bay, the Packers are going to lay 15.5 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, my gosh. Jacksonville is terrible. I don't know what else to say besides they're terrible. But 15.5, that's a gigantic spread. But call me crazy, but never call me late to dinner. I'm taking Green Bay, laying all those points, and I'll be standing in victory lane after this game is over. Mello, who you taking?
Yeah, I think this is an obvious one. They're saying 15.5. Holy tamale, who could cover that? But they could cover that in the first quarter. Actually, Jacksonville is terrible. And Green Bay's at home, clicking on all cylinders. I don't think 15.5 is near enough for Jacksonville. And I think Jacksonville's going to have a little letdown going into this game, too.
Maybe Chad Henne can double his quarterback rating to 8. Oh, I'm sorry. San Diego, the Chargers, they're going to lay 2.5 on the road at Cleveland. Give me the Chargers. I think they eat these guys up. Who you taking?
Yeah, Cleveland, they'll play you tough, hard, but they always find a way to lose. So give me San Diego to cover this one.
At Philadelphia, the Eagles are going to lay 2.5 to the visiting Atlanta Falcons. I'm taking the Falcons. I don't think they need the points. I think they're just going to win this game and knock these guys out. Who you taking?
Yeah, why are the Eagles favored in this one? This one jumps right out at me. I've got Atlanta as well.
In Detroit, where you might get murdered unless you just stay inside Ford Field all night. The Lions are going to lay 2.5 to the Seattle Seahawks. Detroit could have an explosive game. They've been really struggling scoring points. And this could be their breakout game, but I just can't trust them. I'm taking Seattle getting the points, and I don't think I'm going to need them. Who are you taking?
I'm going to take Detroit. They have got to win this game. The last game was a must win. This is a must win. So they got to have this one. I'm going on that alone.
At the New York Jets, the Jets and Tim Tebow are going to lay 2.5 points to the Miami Dolphins. The Jets will do what they do best, and that's beat up on bad teams. So I'll take the Jets to cover this one. Who are you taking?
I hawed and seesawed on this one. They're talking about Ryan Tannehill's playing better, and all of this. The Jets are at home, and it's not 3, so I'll take them.
Nice. Way to be confident.
Yeah.
At Chicago, the Bears, they're going to lay 7.5 to the Carolina Panthers. I'm taking Carolina to stay within the 7.5. I don't think they win this game, but I think they stay within that point spread. The Bears don't impress me much, at all, really. Who are you taking, Mel?
I think the game plan that the Bears defense, which is really good, will have for Carolina will make them very one-dimensional, and Cam will get frustrated and do stupid things, and they'll lose by more than 7.5.
So it'll be like most weeks then. At Pittsburgh, the Steelers are going to lay 4.5 to the Washington Redskins. I don't know if you've seen the Steelers injury roster, but but I'm going to take Washington getting to 4.5. Mello, who are you taking?
Well, that's another one that, like the Atlanta-Philly game, that jumps right out at me. Washington, they can play with pretty much anybody, so 4.5 looks huge at this point. So I got Washington all day, every day.
At Kansas City, the Chefs. Better retype that. Are going to lay 1 point to the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders. Oh, my gosh. Do I have to watch this game, Mello?
I think as punishment, you should.
As punishment, as crimes against humanity, I'll have to watch this game. I'm going to take the Raiders. That's my team. I'm trying to be impartial. Both teams are terrible. But Brady Quinn, he's going to start for the Chiefs. And the formula has been simple about him for years. You blitz him, he makes poor decisions when rushed. You let him sit back in that pocket, he will tear you to pieces. But if you put some heat on him, man, he makes bad decisions. He kind of reminds me of Joey Harrington. You remember that guy when he was in the league, right? All right, yeah. So give me the Raiders. I think if I'm sitting at home and know that, I think they should know that. Mello, who are you taking?
Yeah, I got the Raiders by default in this one. Awesome.
The New York Giants are going to lay 2 points on the road at Dallas. I think this is one of those games where Dallas gets the win. They shouldn't, but I'm thinking that this will be a game where they just come out and they get after them and they win this game. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I wanted to take Dallas, but can't do it. Can't do it. Can't win with them. I'm taking the Giants just because you can't count them out. And Dallas is so snake bit. They'll have the lead at some point in this game, and they'll watch it dwindle away.
I want winners.
At Denver, the Broncos and their pizza franchise. They're going to lay 6 points to the New Orleans Saints. I really don't know about this game. I'm gonna take Denver at home. I'm kind of flipping a coin right now on the spot because New Orleans should stay within 6 because Denver is just, I don't know, they're hot and cold, but let's hope it's a hot night. And let's hope Denver runs them out of the building. Who are you taking?
I got New Orleans in this, and it's despite the fact that they don't have a defense. They don't even play defense anymore, it doesn't seem like. But Denver gets off to such slow starts against a prolific offense. You can't do that. I know you can come back, but just 6 that looks a little too large if you're saying it's Breeze and company that you're going up against. So I got New Orleans in this.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Yeah.
They are who it says they are on their jersey, really.
On Monday night, the San Francisco 49ers, they're going to lay 6.5 on the road at Arizona. I'm taking San Francisco. I know what's wrong with Arizona. We don't have a show long enough to talk about it. So I'm going to take San Francisco on this one. Who you got?
Yeah, this is my 4th no-brainer of the week here. Arizona doesn't have offense, so that's going to make it really difficult for them right there. Divisional game, you would think 6.5 be enough, but I just don't. I've said it on a few other games over the years and stuff. How does Arizona score in this game?
I don't know. With any consistency, they don't. Mello, before we get out of here, is any numbers or anything else you want to discuss before we wrap it up?
Let me wing a couple numbers at you. Big spreads 2-2 last week. They're 7-12-2 on the season.
Wow.
I'm just over 500 on my best bets. Still waiting to turn it on. This week, actually, to me, has been one of the better weeks since, I think, what was it, 3 weeks ago when you said that was pretty easy to pick them that week. I had a lot easier time picking them. But last week, home dogs, goose egg, 0-4. Home teams combined to go 3-9-1.
Oh, my God.
So right now, home favorites are 25, 39, and 3. That is just horrible.
That's awful.
And they keep continuing to load the board with home favorites. So I'm very careful picking the home favorites. Only the ones that I really believe have the firepower to actually cover a spread. Because if you've got any inclination at all that you're leaning, I would lean against it. The trend says to right now.
Yes, definitely.
And road dogs, that makes them the big winner on the board. 14 games over 500, a road dog. So they're not looking so. That San Francisco, Arizona, key point right there. That's a game where they could rack up more numbers for this equation.
Yeah, man, that's some good stuff. And sometimes we just overlook that kind of stuff. So
I always like to look at these little trends before I make my picks, because when I see the way the board is loaded, sometimes you can see where they're looking to make the adjustment. And the adjustment on home favorites, they can't let it go too much further, I would think, before they got to bring it around. Because remember, these numbers need to be around the 50 percentile by the end of the season.
Yeah, needs to bear out that there's parity and that all these bets are good,
Right, so that you can't play,
Yep.
you would have to play the trend for the whole season, and that wouldn't work out for you. But if you're playing it right now, and you have been playing it right now, you could hold on to it for a little bit longer before they correct the situation.
Very good stuff, Mello. Anything else?
That's all I got, baby.
All right, great stuff. Folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of the NFL Fan Podcast, Mello's NFL Weekly. You can check us out at tpenetwork.com. That's tpenetwork.com. Before Mello Betts, I'm Hank Davis. Until next time, my friends, we're signing off.
If you have comments or feedback, you can email the guys at tprfans@yahoo.com. That's tprfans@yahoo.com, or call the voicemail line at +1 810 309 8445.